Hi, everybody, and welcome to Metaphysical Insights. I'm William Becker, your host, and I have today, I'm very pleased to announce, a good friend of mine, Jason Hassler, as the guest on my show. Jason is the lead, what's your title?
Director.
Director, excuse me,
Yeah,
of
fancy.
Big River Paranormal, and based out of Vancouver, Washington. And Jason, welcome. Thank you for
Thank you.
being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure. Um, Before we get going on most of everything, I want to make a couple quick comments. My own, hey Joe, my own shameless self promotion. I have a couple of events coming up, and I have oh, what is it I'm doing? I am doing um, a class and followed by a gallery reading on the 18th. Is this showing up on people's screens?
I can see it.
Oh, good. So I guess it's working. Um, I'm a liberal arts major, and I'm not a tech guy. Um, so bear with me. But what I'm doing is I've got a class, a psychic development class from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Masonic Lodge in Independence, Oregon. Uh, Independence isn't that far away. It's from the southeast Portland suburbs. It's a little over an hour. It's not bad. Um, and then from 5 to 6 or 6:30, I'm doing a gallery reading. And more information is on the Eventbrite ticket site. And you can get there with the QR code or the URL down at the bottom of this flyer. And I'll try to attach these later. And the other that I'm doing, and let's see if I can make this one show up, is this coming Saturday, a week from today. I am that sounds like a here we go. At the Inner Oasis Mind Body Spirit Shop in McMinnville. I'm doing readings from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Uh, they're broken up. People can get as long of a reading as they want, but the owner has we have it set up for 15-minute intervals, and they're $40 for 15 minutes, and love to see a lot of you there. And like I say, if you want a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, we can, all of that's available. You don't have to be limited to 15 minutes. And I'll put up the address to that later, or you can look it up online. Inner Oasis Mind Body Spirit LLC. Sorry, the brain and the tongue don't always work. Okay, now that I'm done with my shameless self-promotion, and you can see my two books are back here. Jason, what have you been up to? Let's promote you the rest of the day.
Well, I've just been working on my radio show. I've had some pretty cool guests recently. And then just doing investigations. We got the Oregon Ghost Conference last weekend, so we did that. That was a lot of fun, and yeah.
What did you?
Still. What's that?
Oh, you're still resting from that?
Yes, it's been. Yeah, you probably know all about paranormal hangovers, you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And folks, when Jason says that, he means paranormal hangover. He doesn't drink, so.
Yeah, very rarely.
Yeah. So, and thanks for the great comments, and hello, gentlemen. But How did it go, and what did you guys do, and did you have anything interesting? Because I know you were working on some of the investigations.
Yeah, we did the Starry Night Inn in Seaside. We did the public investigations there. It's always a cool place to investigate. I don't think we had anything this time happen, but actually, I guess there was a. I wasn't there for it, but when we're there, they have the keys in the door, and I guess one of the keys was swaying back and forth. There was a little thing, a keychain was swaying back and forth on it. I guess they got that on video for like over a minute, and of course it's inside, so there's no, nothing that's going to cause it to do that. The
No
heat or
draft
anything,
that would keep it.
no draft. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't there for that, but I heard about it. But that was pretty cool. But that's a interesting place. We've had some experiences there over the years. We've had let's see, my daughter Mariah got locked in the bathroom there once because she was smart enough to say, "Hey, go ahead and mess with the people staying in room 4," which was us. And I was like, "Yeah, speak for yourself." But we were all down on the main level, and she went upstairs to use the restroom, and she just never comes back. And we're like, "What's going on?" And finally, she sends me a text message. She said, "Dad, I need you to come let me out of the bathroom." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I go up there, and the bathroom in room 4 is one that slides open instead of opens up like a normal door. And what had happened, she went in there and she shut the door, and nobody else was up there but her, but something slid a chair behind the door so she couldn't get it open. So yeah.
Ah,
I said, "Well,
that
you
sounds
asked."
like Coffee Rush.
Yeah. So we were pretty excited about that. It was kind of funny because we're all pumped about it. The guests were like, we're going to bed. But we're like, what are we doing here? Because that's what we're looking for. It was pretty
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it. Now,
Yeah.
were there guests there that were other than part of the conference?
For when that happened, it was just Mariah and I had done worked a thing out with the owners there. It was Jen at the time, where she had us come down, and people could stay there, and they would rent the room, and then they can go on, and we would investigate with the guests there. So that's what we're doing there. With that time, it wasn't part of the conference, but yeah, we usually work that one for the conference for Rocky. And I think he just has us do that because we are, we there a lot, so we know the place pretty well. So, and it's
Right.
a really cool place to stay as well as investigate. It's a nice place. I like it.
Oh, yeah, and the people that run it and own it are fabulous.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I think it's got new ownership at this point, but I think it's the same
oh,
family, but I'm not 100% sure.
okay. And then this year, you also where else were you in part of the investigations?
That was the only place I personally investigated. They did have multiple investigations to other places. They had Beach Books was a new location they investigated this year. I don't know anything about that one because I didn't do it. And then they had in Astoria the Elks Lodge, so they had that.
And I thought you were part of the Elks Lodge investigation.
No, I haven't gone there yet. I'm going to, I believe. We're gonna try to work something out with them and get in. But
Oh, okay. I
yeah,
thought you were part of that one. Sorry.
that was with
Um,
Astoria did that one, and they said that's a really cool location. They've gotten some stuff there. I haven't seen any of their evidence there, but they said they've had some pretty good activity there.
okay. Excellent. Yeah. No, that sounds good. Cool. Well, other than the Elks up there, what else have you got coming up, or have have you investigated that's been particularly interesting lately?
One of the investigations we recently did was Gully's Butcher Shop in Astoria, and that's
Mhm.
been featured on several different TV shows. That's a really cool location. Astoria does the public investigations there, but we were actually able to get in without the public and do our own thing there. And that's a really fun location. It's, they got some stuff there that there's like a big clown there, that makes it kind of spooky downstairs. But, and then they have like this butcher like guy is kind of weird, but like that's just for the fun of it. But the location is actually pretty cool. They have different places and different stories and that kind of stuff that they've had stuff happen there. They believe there's a girl spirit. I believe they call her Abigail. That she's the
Mhm.
beginning of it, and many people have claimed to see her. And I actually did have an experience when I was there a couple times ago because I've been there a few times. I've been there for the public and the one that we did, and you could just kind of see as the group goes along. I could kind of see her following behind, just like staying just out of the way, and I kept seeing a shadow of what I believe to be a child. And it was pretty cool to see that. And I kept going
Yeah.
back and trying to get pictures and stuff, but of course I didn't get anything from that. But you can just tell there's definitely some activity down there. They,
Hmm.
they definitely want you to know it's their space too.
Yeah. Well, they've got part of the tunnel system, if I remember right, don't they? Down the
Oh,
basement is part of
I
that.
believe they do. It's blocked off now, but I believe they do. I think they blocked it off when the fires happened, if I remember right. That's what I was told.
Oh, well, actually, those tunnels were built after the fires because so much of that was on boardwalks. I
Yeah,
mean, part of the reason for the big fire was all the buildings and shops in that area were on pilings covered
yeah,
with creosote. And I believe the water suppression or fire suppression system or hoses running underneath. Now, that was the case in Sumter. Maybe it's not the case in Astoria. But anyway, when everything's made out of wood on creosote soaked wood at that, it doesn't take long for the fires just to spread like crazy because they kept to the downtown area pretty much.
yeah.
Um, and so they filled in that area with rubble and all the rest of it afterwards. And I thought that's when the tunnels came in, because all the other Shanghaiing everything, they just had boats waiting underneath the tavern trap doors, um, because it was all water. I might be wrong about how far inland the piers went, or the building on bridge type thing went,
Yeah.
and where the land end or started. So I'm open to being wrong about that, where Gully's is, but I think
Yeah.
that was all over water originally.
Huh.
Um, it's hard to tell with all of there's so many different legends. In fact, from fiction is not always easy.
Especially when it's that long ago. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it seems like a long time for me. Probably not so much for some people, but yeah, it's
Well, I I grew up knowing people who were alive in 1922 during the fire. So
that's what I'm saying. Some people, it seems like for me, it seems like a long time ago. Maybe not so much for you.
you young whippersnappers, you're catching up. You're not that far away from 50. I'll get my
No, no.
revenge. Um, so are you seeing all the
Hey, Cody.
and um, Jimmy and Joe I showed earlier? I don't know if you saw those, but they're
Yeah.
friends of mine in England.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really cool people. People I've actually gotten to spend time with over there. Um, in fact, don't mind the digression, but Joe and I were out on Dartmoor one day, around a late Neolithic, early Bronze Age site that um, later they made some discoveries that matched what I had read of the place as far as ceremonial um, megaliths going through. And we were walking through there were several burial kists there, and I almost literally, um, literally stumbled into one of them and went, "Oh, that's mine." So Joe was with me when I found where I'd been buried in a past life many millennia ago. So he and I have had a lot of fun exploring different places over there. And
Oh, yeah. Cody and I have an inside joke about Bigfoot and Frosties, so that's what that was
okay,
about. Yeah.
okay. I probably don't want to know the joke, at least not on the air. I do try to keep the show PG. Um,
Oh, it's definitely
so
PG, but it's just kind of a joke. Yeah.
yeah. Um, anyway, so tell me more about some of these other investigations. Sorry about that, but
Yeah, sure. We had let's see, we were at the Beals building in Tillamook. That's a pretty cool location. It's next to the theater there. And it's got a
oh
lot
yeah,
of
I know the area.
different history there. Yeah. It's got a lot of good and bad history. I guess They used to have even clan meetings there back in the day. So we've had different. I think we've been there like 4 or 5 times, and we've got some pretty interesting evidence there. We did have one time we were over in the other building next to it, and we'd set our equipment down in the main area, and we had a camera down there and an audio down there. And during the audio, you can hear something going through our bags and stuff, but there was nobody actually there. And I mean that clip lasted for a good like almost 8 minutes of like it sounded like somebody rustling through our bags and our equipment and stuff. We weren't even that side of the building, so yeah. And of
It
course,
wasn't
we
a
have,
rat.
I mean, maybe, but like there was no evidence of
You
it, so
you
yeah,
would have known if it would have been a rat.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there was nothing was chewed up or pooped on, so I think
Yeah.
yeah. So we were, so and then we've had some voices and some personal experiences there. They're currently remodeling it. From my understanding, they're going to make the upstairs apartments again like they used to be. There was apartments up there at one time. I think there was a dental clinic there at one time, and it's been an antique store. It's been all sorts of different things over the years. And I think
Mhm.
they're going to make food carts downstairs. I think they were telling me. So once it
Okay.
gets, rebuilt, we might go back if they want us to come back. But as of right now, it's in the middle of construction, so it is kind of hard to investigate and dusty and not all that safe. But we did investigate the basement. We did have a team member fall down the stairs at this basement, and she was fine until 2 weeks later. She's like, "Oh, I had my ankle X-rayed, and apparently it's broken." But like, so we got to be careful with that kind of stuff. Walking around in the dark in the basement, and yeah. But
Yeah, and I still don't see the necessity to go around in the dark.
yeah, the reason
There
we were in the
there
dark there is because there wasn't lighting down there.
Yeah, that's a good reason.
Yeah,
But that's for me, it's like, okay, if there aren't lights, let's use good flashlights or something,
yeah,
just for that reason. But I'm at a point where I splat more than in life, where I don't bounce as much as I did when I was 20.
yeah, and don't heal as quickly either. So
Mm-mm. Yeah. So, um, oh, that sounds interesting.
it's a
Mm,
cool place. I really like it there. Tillamook's got some pretty interesting history, from my understanding.
mhm.
With and then we did in Garibaldi, we did the old boathouse there. That's a cool place. Let's see, and then we did the museum out there as well at Garibaldi. There's supposed to be some activity
That's
there.
You
Yeah,
got me in there. That was where I
yeah,
did the gallery. Yeah.
yes, we did again. You
People
did
there
the
were
gallery there.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really cool place. I like that place. I don't know if it's super haunted, but people said they've seen things upstairs, like they saw a man upstairs and that kind of stuff. We didn't. I don't think we had much luck finding any evidence there, but that doesn't mean anything. They're not circus performers, as I tell people.
Yeah. It just means they didn't come out to play.
Yeah,
And
well, here with my information. There we go.
and when you talk to people who have work and live in these places, the vast majority of them don't have activity every day or every week or even every month. And sometimes it'll be a year or two even between activity spurts. And so one day of not getting anything doesn't mean it's not haunted. It just means you weren't able to catch anything or didn't have any
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah, there's multiple reasons. I always tell people, like, if we do 10 investigations and we find something we believe to be paranormal on one, I think we're doing decent.
Hmm.
Like it isn't like, like what you see on TV where there's always got to be something dramatic. It's really actually pretty boring most of the time. It's sitting around with your friends having conversations, and then when it gets quiet, calling out your body functions, because otherwise it may sound like something different on the audio recorder. So
Right.
yeah,
Exactly. Or
it can be
even certain,
embarrassing.
yeah, those footsteps are mine, not
Yeah,
not ghosts.
car driving by, your stomach growls. We have one team member, Stacy. Her stomach's always making noise, so we call it Stacy's stomach demon. Because if we don't
Uh-huh.
call it out, we don't know what it is. You know,
Yeah.
we have a we have a strict no Mexican food rule before investigations for that very reason.
Oh, well, that's no fun.
Yeah, we try to do a Taco Bell afterwards though.
Okay.
I mean, that's not real Mexican food, but it's the best you can do at 3 in the morning.
Well, I was gonna say, if you're doing Taco Bell, then yeah, you deserve the stomach rattle. Um, did I say that out loud? I get in so much trouble. Um, I love it. Well, and I'm a coast kid in so many ways. My family goes back to Astoria to the 1880s, and so um, it's I half grew up there. I was shortly after I graduated from university with my bachelor's, grandma passed, and that was so, up until I was early 20s, we were there a lot,
Yeah.
and often just to go pick grandma up and bring her back up here. So, um, my car used to know how to get there in the snow without me worrying about driving it. It'd just go. Slight exaggeration,
Yeah.
but so I love it. I absolutely love it. Um, where else have you been going lately for some of these?
Let's see. Well, we didn't go anywhere this month because we had the conference, but we got some stuff coming up. We have been to the, let's see, Lewis County Museum. We're gonna be going back there soon. That's in Chehalis. That's
What
a
did you have happen there?
Let's see. There we had. I mean, I gotta think. Cause see, that was a while back. We did get some voices in the attic and like children's laughter. I believe we got
Mhm.
a children's laughter. And then we had what we used to be the smoking room there. There's a sign, and one of our team
That's
members
the
asked.
women's restroom now, isn't it?
It might be. One of my team members asked, "Can I go in the smoking room?" And we got a clear no.
Yeah, and your team members are all female, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Except for you.
yeah.
Um, so that one of your team members going into the smoking room would definitely be a no.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
that could be that's interesting. And then one of the toilets flushed on its own there, which is it's the toilets in there are pretty old, so I don't think they're not the automatic ones. I mean, it's kind of funny
No.
because we've had that happen, other places, and it's like, oh come on, guys, it's the automatic flush, like it just happens. But that
But if
one,
there's nobody around it, then it flushes. Something has to trigger that automatic flush,
yeah, yeah. When it
you
comes to
know?
stuff like that, it's kind of difficult to explain. Yeah, there's definitely something set it off, but that doesn't mean it's paranormal. That's for sure.
No, but it doesn't mean it's not. I'm just saying there's
Yeah,
gotta be, especially because you don't hear of those things going off on their own, not usually. You have to
I don't
be
I don't hang out in bathrooms very often, but we did have an incident. We were at Oregon State University doing an investigation there, and when we were doing review, she's going to hate me for this, Erin. She heard what she thought a woman screaming, which was could have been accurate for the claims down there. In fact, there was a woman that was stabbed in that area that we were in back in the 70s, and she kept saying, "I kept hearing this scream. It sounded like a woman screaming." But when we listened back to it, it turns out it was the automatic paper towel dispenser. It was like this, So
yep.
yeah, we make fun of her pretty hard for that because it's just kind of the stuff that investigators have. It's kind of stuff we see. There's all sorts of different stuff we see. We had one. We were up at the a place called Billy's Bar and Grill in Aberdeen, and one of their
Okay.
claims was they can hear a woman laughing in the bathroom every night when they're cleaning up. So of course, we're setting up as they're cleaning up when the bar's closing. We're setting up our investigation, and we hear it. And they say, "Yeah, that's it." So a teammate and I, Sarah, who's since passed on, we go into the ladies' room. We're hanging out there, see if we can figure out what this is. And pretty soon we hear it. And what it was one of those automatic air fresheners, and it just kind of squeaked a little bit when it went off. So we're like, "Oh, that's
Ah,
yeah." So they weren't too enthused. Oh, that wasn't it. Yeah, a minute ago you said it was, and that wasn't. But people try to sell their places as being haunted, which is it's a big market for that kind of stuff. And
mhm.
we did find some things there that we believe to be paranormal, but That wasn't one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, which building did you investigate at OSU? And I'm intrigued
See,
because I spent 4 years
look, I
going there, plus a year
exact,
working on campus after I graduated.
can't remember the names exactly. Let me see if I can find Oregon State University. Does it say? Does not say. I know we did like where the auditorium is the speaking place where they have different stuff there.
Concerts
Like
and all that?
I don't know if they have concerts, but it was like a little kind of almost like a cafeteria with a stage kind of thing, and it was like a big area. And then we did like the attic area, and then one of the dorms we went into the basement of. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head
Was
because
it
it's been.
Weatherford?
I don't
Did
think
it
so
have a
because
big arch? Two
no,
taller wings with a big arch that was also part of it?
I don't remember. It was about 3 years ago we were there, so I have a hard time remembering. That
Could
was
have
we
been
didn't.
Sackett.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's where it was. Yeah.
Sackett?
Uh huh.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, that
that's
does
an
sound
older
familiar.
one.
Yeah, we went into the basement there, and we had some people had some personal experiences, some weird odd feelings, but we didn't capture anything. And because it gets really hard to when you're at a campus like that with so many people around to control the environment and know for a fact that hey that's not one of us or somebody that was
Yeah.
nearby. So it's kind of hard to when you're doing a public space like that. It's really hard to find things that we believe to be paranormal without having to put extra critique on it because of the environment around.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. No, I'm asking because I know they've got several new buildings now.
Yeah.
But and I lived in the women's building practically because that's where all my dance classes were. And that's
Oh,
gorgeous. It faces the quad. You've got the MU here, which is like an Italian Renaissance palace. It's huge, big dome, all the
yeah.
rest. And then on one side there of the quad, there's a street. Oh, and the quad was designed by the same guy that designed Central Park. So,
Oh, that's cool.
we had some pretty big name things there. I'm actually pretty proud of Oregon State in my time there. It was the best or second best in the world in many fields, and in this country, we're in the top 1 to 5 in many fields, and that includes the Ivy Leagues. But then the women's building was here, it's set back across off the street a little ways. It's sort of a Mediterranean style brick building too. You walk in and go up stone stairways and such, and uh, beautiful wood floors and paneling and fireplace and that kind of thing. Um, let's see, the ballroom of the um, Memorial Union building had a stage, if I remember right.
That might have been it is too. That might have, I think that might have been where we were at. Yeah.
And that's a building you would remember, I would think. And a huge on the main level, there's a huge room. When I was there, there were it looked like a hunting lodge.
Yes. Yes. That was yeah. I remember sitting in that room. Yeah.
Yeah, and at the time, the big fireplace on either end.
Yeah.
Um, I was there. We used to hang out there because I had friends that were piano majors, and they had a beautiful grand piano there in that room. So I'd go and listen to my friends play music, and they'd have concerts during the day at times, different people. Um, and it was a lot of fun. And there were rumors about ghosts, but around that quad area, but I didn't know what they were. And I went there in the 70s. I started in
Yeah.
75, and I didn't know about a woman being stabbed. Do you happen to know what part of the 70s? Because it
I
was either
don't.
just before I left or while I was there.
I don't. I'm trying to remember that. It had something to do. want to say Bundy had some. Ted Bundy maybe had something to do with this
Could
area.
be.
Yes, I remember. So it's been a
Oh,
long time ago. Yeah.
wait, no,
So
there was the I-5 killer.
there was a
That
lot of
was
different rumors going on about what could have happened there. But I do know there was a woman they claimed, I mean, I didn't do any of the research on that to find out like any like factual history on that, but I do know that they claimed there was a woman that was stabbed in there. And I don't know if she passed away, I can't remember, but then that, yeah. So
yeah, yeah. Um, there were a couple serial killers that were up the I-5 corridor, and including um in Oregon, and I have a vague memory of something in Corvallis with related to that,
yeah.
but I don't know when exactly.
Yeah,
So,
we did investigate in Woodland, Washington. There's the Cedar Creek Grist Mill. We've
okay,
investigated there quite a few times. That's said to be haunted by. There was back in the '70s. There was a serial killer in Clark County. They're still finding his victims and trying to do now that they have more DNA technology. They're trying to convict him for more stuff. His name is Warren Forrest, I believe, and
okay,
he had one of his believed victims, Barbara Deary. Her body was found at the grist mill, and
okay.
yeah, so we've investigated there a few times, and that's an interesting location. They also believe there's a possibility that his another one of his victims is buried somewhere on that property. They don't know for sure, but they believe it's a possibility. And we've investigated there a few times. We've gotten some interesting stuff there. That's a cool place. It's hard to investigate because it's on the water, so the water's really loud. But other than that,
Mhm.
it's a really beautiful location, and it's really cool to investigate there. We've gotten some decent EVPs there. We had one. We were there one night, and there was a cat that had joined us on our investigation that lived at the with the people that live on the property, and the cat was just kind of hanging out. We were getting ready to go outside and take a break, and Mariah, my daughter, was like, "Well, what are we gonna do with a cat?" And I was like, "Oh, just bring her with us." And then on the audio, we hear a woman say, "I love her."
Oh,
So
great.
yeah. And then we got some humming, like somebody like humming a song. And of
Mhm.
course we don't do any humming on our investigation. So we know that wasn't one of us. And then we were there one night, we're all down in the bottom area, and we were just down there doing an EVP session. And the entire building shook. It sounded like it dang near sounded like a car had hit the building. We're
Wow.
all like, what the heck is that? So we all go running upstairs. We got the doors locked, nobody can get in. So we go up there, and we go outside, look around. Of course, there's nothing. We don't see any footprints, nothing. It was raining, nothing. We see nothing. So we continue our investigation. We're kind of weary, like, what happened. But then when we went back to review the evidence, you can hear us reacting to it, but you cannot hear it on any of the audio or the video.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that was really it was a cool thing, because I mean it sounded like somebody had like a big boom. It shook the entire building, and you can hear us like freaking out, but you can't hear it on the audio, and it wasn't on the video either.
That's really bizarre.
Yeah,
I
we
love
could
things
not
like
find an
that.
explanation. Yeah, cannot find an explanation for that, but it definitely was. We're all kind of dumbfounded, like, okay, what now? Like,
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Uh, wow. Yeah. That and it's interesting when things like that don't show up on the audio,
that
and I'm
happens a
not
lot.
sure why. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
like
well, maybe it's like Bigfoot. They make sure that there aren't any really good photographic or other kinds of
yeah,
evidence of their existence. They're too smart to want to be have it
yeah,
proven that they exist.
yeah. That could be. I
Um,
mean, they're always all the pictures of Bigfoot are blurry, so yeah,
mhm,
except for the
and
ones that are fake. Yeah,
yeah, mhm, a lot of those. Um, but Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. What is what? Where have you investigated that you had the most compelling and interesting experiences and evidence? Because the two aren't always the same. I know.
I would say we've had a couple investigations, different places in Port Gamble. We always get decent stuff, whether it be the Walker Ames house. We've had
Hmm.
experiences at the museum. The Walker Ames house is always great, as you know, to investigate. I mean, we've had investigations there where we got absolutely nothing, and
Right.
we've got investigations where it's pretty much nonstop EVP stuff. So we did have a couple of really cool EVPs. We have one where one of the things we like to do as soon as we get on the location while we're setting up, we go ahead and start a voice recorder, and just you never know. So
Right.
you can hear Mariah and Stacy talking about where I wanted a certain recorder placed, and we have a list of things that we want done, and Stacy says check the list, and then you can hear a voice after her say they're listening. So
Ah.
that place is been investigated so often, the spirits seem to know what's going on when we show up there. And of
Oh
course,
yeah.
when you've been there so often, I think they get more comfortable with you. We were uh, we were there once, and it was one of our team members' birthdays, so we had cupcakes. So we're talking about. I was going to give some of the team members who we just got there. We had the cupcakes. We're talking about them. We hadn't eaten them yet, but we're talking about it. And then I said, "Hey, let me give you, a couple of teammates that hadn't been there to tour the house before we get everything set up." And then somebody mentioned, "Well, what about the cupcakes?" And you hear a voice go, "Oh yeah," which makes you feel bad because we can't offer them a cupcake. They can't eat it, but
Well, you can offer. You can certainly bring one for them
yeah.
and leave it as an offering, and then eat it for them.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't that be awful though? Like, there's a cupcake there, and you want it, but you can't eat it because you're dead.
Nah. Yeah, they'd appreciate the gesture, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Hmm.
pretty cool place. I mean, we've always had fun stuff there. We were at the museum one night, and that one was actually a public investigation during the Port Gamble conference, and
Hmm.
something fell from the ceiling and hit Mariah on the head, and you could hear it fall and hit her. And you could hear her react to it, and you could hear it hit the ground. It sounded like it was like a rock or something heavy. So we turned all the lights on. We're looking around trying to find something. We're all crawling around our hands. We never found what that was. They hit her. And we had,
Wow.
yeah, it was just weird. So we never
Yeah.
found anything like that. And then Pete, I can't remember how much long after, but one of the exhibits, some of the stuff were pulled out of the. I guess they had some like one of the exhibits is like an office for like the mill, like what it would look
Right.
like, and like some of
Hmm.
the time cards and stuff were like pulled out of the drawer and thrown onto the floor in there. So they didn't really have an explanation for that either. So
Okay.
that's that place has definitely got some activity. I like the theater there. I haven't investigated there, but every time we were there once, our booth for the conference was on the side there by the stage, and out of the corner of our eye, we kept seeing movement behind the stage. It's like, and nobody is
Hmm.
back there, so that's I would really like to investigate that place. That's pretty cool. And then the doctor's house there is really cool too. We
Yeah.
had across the street from Walker Ames.
Hmm.
We were there. One of the things we do after we get all the equipment set up is we come outside, and we, depending on the weather, we give it
Right.
10-15 minutes to let like just the equipment settle and just kind of let the house chill a little bit. And
Right.
while we're outside, nobody's in the house. We have a recording, and it's clear as day. It says, "I found her." We don't know what it
Okay.
meant. We never got an explanation for it, but it's clear. I found her. It's the weirdest thing.
I wonder if it
That's
was talking about the little girl
I don't know.
that's seen
But
there and at the Walker Ames.
yeah, I wonder. Like some people believe that the doctor's house is more active than Walker Ames. My belief is it's all the same. It's the same spirits in both houses.
Well, a lot of the ones I've come across, partly as a medium, but also with um, more physical experience. and people in my classes seem to be associated with the house itself.
Yeah.
Things like the butler and um, a few other things. And but some of them are definitely back and forth,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean the ones that are associated with the house itself don't visit other places. I'm not saying that's
Yeah.
not possible, but um, yeah. And the guy in the basement at the Walker Ames, he's
Yeah.
pretty much just in the basement, but that's where he was forced to be most of his life.
Yeah. That's
Um,
my understanding. Yeah.
yeah,
I, I feel like he had mental health issues or something. Is that what this? And so that they
yeah,
kept him away from, because back then it was a shameful thing to have, somebody like that in your family. So they just
yeah,
kept him out of the, when they had people and stuff over, they kept him out of there in
yeah.
the
I think it was
basement.
mental health and possibly, I think, also mental development.
Yeah.
There were a couple of things that triggered that from a fairly early age.
Yeah.
If my memory is correct, it's been a long time since I've heard the stories,
Yeah.
but
I haven't gotten any solid evidence in the basement there, but we've all had like, you see shadows and that kind of stuff. The basement's cool. It's just a creepy basement. First of all,
yeah,
basements are creepy, but we heard a cat down there once and there was no cat. So,
okay.
uh,
Oh, in one of my classes, I had somebody hear a big cat.
oh,
In fact, I think a couple of us might have. I can't remember. This was years ago. And one of the people was drawing a tiger.
huh. At the Walker Ames?
Hmm.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
Huh. We had, if you go up the stairs, that room immediate to the left,
Hmm.
I had set up a camera in there facing a video camera facing the door. And if you go on our website, bigriverparanormal.com, you'll see it. We got what appeared to be a figure walking out that door.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, and which is one of the claims that, people have been seen in that hallway walking through there and stuff. So, which is why I set the camera up there. It's really quick and it's like, it's light in like, I don't know how I actually, when doing a review, actually caught it because you blink and you could miss it. So I just got really lucky to
Right.
find it, but it's a really cool video and it's pretty awesome to actually get because video evidence is really hard to get.
It is. And it's hard to verify sometimes. And actually,
Yeah.
that's an interesting question for me with groups in general and with yours.
Yeah.
Do you have, after, especially if it's a setup from a particular batch of video or whatever, if you don't catch anything, do you have somebody else go through it too? Just to make
Often,
sure, because it is so
yeah.
hard to
Mhm.
check.
Oftentimes it will give the same piece of review to multiple people.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
um,
For that very
I
reason. Yeah.
I have trouble keeping focused well enough to.
Me too. In fact, I like to do the video more than I do the audio because if I have to listen and watch, it gives me two things to try to pay attention to. If I'm just listening, I'm going to fall asleep. If it's just me in headphones and listening to the investigation, I'm just, yeah. I mean, I'll catch some stuff, but I'm that also going to, because my ADD is going to have me thinking about other things and I'll miss stuff. So,
Oh
but
yeah, I'm
I also have this unique, I don't know what it is, where I can tell, okay, something is about to come up. Pay attention. It's just kind of weird, like,
that is
yeah, I'm able to catch stuff. But what's weird for me is also with audio, I can hear the EVPs a lot. Okay, I can hear something that's on a different level than us talking. I can hear that,
right.
but it's rare that I can tell what it says until other people listen to it, and then they give me an idea. We'll come up with like, okay, I think it says this. Other people think, okay, think it's, and a lot of times we'll disagree on what it says, but a lot of
But you'll
times
hear
it's
it.
pretty, yeah, a lot of times it's pretty clear. And a lot of times we never do figure out what it said other than just there's a voice here,
Right. Yeah.
which is That's frustrating because you know there's a voice there that's not you, but you can't hear what it says.
Right. Yeah. I still think those are interesting though. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't get I record a lot because I do that as a way of taking notes.
Yeah,
So I have a good DSLR camera and it does good video. And it's a Canon 70D. So pretty good one. And I don't use it to try to collect evidence so much. Occasionally I'll take some pictures just because,
yeah,
but I've had them tell me too often when I've asked them to do something like for the camera or the audio.
yeah,
And they said, why should we go to that much work and that much energy? Because you can hear us and see us.
yeah.
And I tell them, yeah, but I can't prove it if you don't, you know,
They'll
show
give
up.
you something. Yeah,
Yeah, and they often say, "Well, that's your problem." You know,
and
so
they're right. Yeah,
and they are absolutely right. I can't
yeah,
argue with that. I try to
yeah,
be as courteous and respectful as possible. I treat the entities better than I do those of us who still breathe.
yeah. Yeah, it's that's a lot of people ask me about how to stay safe and that kind of thing on these investigations, and a lot of what I tell people is it's not dangerous if you do it the right.
Mhm.
If you just go in and treat them like they're people in the physical world, why would it be dangerous? Because they were basically that. They're just not in the physical world anymore. You just as long as you're respectful and you're not going in there cussing at them and that kind of thing, and being because provoking, does that work on an investigation? Probably, because if I cussed at you, you'd probably give me a reaction. But, you know, also the opposite effect could happen. You go in there and cuss and yell, and they're like, why would we talk to you if you're going to cuss and yell? So,
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm. Yep. I'm sure you do, Joe.
and
Daniel is somebody that entity that works with Joe and is rather contrary. Um, exactly. And well, we were talking about this before the show started too. We have the same philosophy at events and such we do. If you get overly aggressive or rude with the entities, you're out.
yep.
We have a
Yeah.
zero tolerance for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And no, you don't get your money back. Um,
I, I mean,
I've had
like,
to pay the venue already, so you're not getting
yeah,
your money back. It's your
I mean,
problem.
we
Grow up.
things on investigations like leading questions, but we won't be like provoking. Like if we're in a like investigating the Idaho, the old state penitentiary, which we do in Boise, our Boise
Mhm.
team does quite often. If we're in death row and we know like some of the guys there and what their crimes were, we might say, "Why did you kill so and so?" You know,
Oh, that's different.
stuff like that. But we're not going to be like, hey, and cuss him out. Why the f did you do that? Whatever that kind of stuff, like you see on some of the TV shows, provoking and stuff, because that's just first of all, you don't want to. You just don't want to. First of all, go into a person's location, anger their spirits, and leave. You know, that's not
Mhm.
cool either. You know,
No, and just because somebody was not particularly a nice person in life doesn't mean we have to stoop to their levels. Um,
yeah, because they've moved on, and yeah, to their next
yeah, it's
life, they're
not
probably not. Yeah,
their soul is gone and his healing and learning, it's been part of their soul's journey and experience. It's part of their energy. Well, lots of things, including certain amount of consciousness and such intelligence that's behind that can interact, but it's not their true nature. That's moved.
yeah,
And I I have talked to so many beings over the course of the 69 years of my life, and not a one of them has been stuck or trapped.
huh,
And the only ones that are more of a complete soul are those who just choose they like it there, or they like to come back and visit, or they're
yeah,
coming to visit somebody, or it's a newer death that just is lingering a little bit to say goodbye and or whatever. And the main essence is gone. but
Yeah.
there's that little bit still. And yeah, I get in trouble because I don't have nothing I've experienced validates so many of the claims about the boxes or what all this stuff is, or
Yeah.
witchcraft or demons or evil or whatever. There are things that aren't very nice,
Yeah.
and there are things that aren't human. But Lily isn't human, no matter what you think, Jason. She isn't.
She's my kid. She's a French
Yeah,
bulldog. I birthed
yeah,
her.
yeah. But that doesn't mean she's evil. It means that she's not human.
Yeah.
And the big scary thing on the wall, that doesn't mean it's evil or demonic. It means it's not human.
Yeah.
It may not be nice, but it's different than being the spawn of Satan.
Yeah, I tend to a lot of times when I'm asked to do certain like shows or whatever, I tend to bore them because they're like, "Oh, so tell me about these demonic stories." I'm like, "Oh, how many demonic stories?" Because one of the things that my team does is we find logical explanations for what people are experiencing, because most
Mhm.
of the time you can find logical explanations for things, and that's not it's not sensationalized like on TV and stuff. And that's what I tell people a lot. Paranormal investigation is nothing like what you see on television, because if it were, nobody would watch, because it's just boring. It really
Well,
is.
and I'm not bringing this up. I'm not trashing anybody or any shows. I don't like to do that on my show. Um, but the reason I wasn't included on the Graveyard of the Pacific episodes, that one, I think it was a four or four night
Yeah.
series, because I was at the two hotels that were investigated, and my connection with the story goes back far longer in my stories than anybody
Yeah.
else associated with the show. And the only reason I wasn't on the show is there's nothing really scary.
Hmm.
There's nothing evil and there's nothing really scary. And um, I told them,
Yeah.
and that doesn't sell. And I
Nope.
get it. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not bitter grapes or anything else.
Yeah. It's just what it
Just,
is.
it's those shows have a purpose, and one purpose, and it's to make money for the studios, the few,
Yeah.
and they do that through entertainment. And paranormal is the media or medium for that entertainment. But depending on the show, reality and what sells um, aren't always the same or aren't always totally in sync.
Yeah.
It can be exaggerated at the very least. And some of them are
Yeah.
really pretty good, I think. Um, I have more respect for a show that doesn't always have evidence of anything happening. Um,
Yeah. Because most of the time you won't.
yeah. And so I'm not trying to say any of the shows are good or bad or whatever. I'm just saying that, this was a case. I spent over an hour with the guy setting up all this stuff, talking to him on the phone.
Yeah.
And actually twice um, talked to him on the phone. Cool.
For me, I
Um,
like to. Yeah. Go ahead.
no, so it's just, I try to tell people that don't take these
Yeah.
things too seriously. Remember why they're there.
Well, also there's two sides to what we do, and I try to explain to people neither one of these things are wrong, but some
Uh-huh.
people are paranormal investigators, which they're trying to find evidence and they're trying to find logical explanations, and they're trying to actually, and they have the experience to assist people who are asking for help with their paranormal stuff. And then there's people who are thrill seeking, more ghost hunters, Nothing wrong with either one of those. Just know which one you are,
Yeah.
because if your experience level is, hey, I've been to a couple cemeteries in the middle of the night I wasn't supposed to be in, you then don't have the experience to go in and help somebody in a residential that's having issues. So,
Right.
and there's nothing wrong with being a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator. Just know what your qualifications are.
Yeah. Don't make it something other than what
Yeah.
it is. And don't go where you're not supposed to be. If you're going to go out to a cemetery at night, get permission.
Yeah.
And I did some work with somebody in Salem a few times, including going to, or they were based out of Salem, and we went to, um, I think it was Lafayette, the couple cemeteries and different
Yeah.
things, and he made sure that he had permission.
Yep.
And he made sure the cops knew we had permission and when we were going to be there, so that if they saw us, they weren't going to come and arrest us for trespassing.
Yeah, that's what we
Um,
did when we were in Lafayette as well. Because I believe it's the Yam Hill Museum that gives. It's been years since I've been here, but they give you permission to be there. They give you a form, and then they ask you to call the 311 when you get there and let them know that that's what's going on.
yeah,
That's
and I don't
yeah,
remember,
yeah. It's been
but
years since I've been out there.
and I didn't set it up. I came
Yeah,
along as a medium, and things like that are really important for people. I've gotten, in fact, in my first book, there part of it is about the old Kanema Cemetery in Oregon City, and I had permission to go there at night
yeah,
and on my own, and I had a key in those days, and um, I didn't tell the police because it's not patrolled really very much. It's off. It's out of the way. You walk a half mile down an old part of the Oregon Trail, actually, the part that went south from Oregon City,
yeah,
and um, I was there respectfully and with total permission. And you just don't be jerks about the way you go and do these things. Just because you want to do something because it's fun doesn't mean it's right.
yeah,
And I I emphasize that in the things I talk about, just because there are too many people that go out there, they're disrespectful, they trespass, they upset people, um, they do vandalism or different things, or do different types of ceremonies which are offensive to,
yeah,
they don't do any good, but they're offensive maybe to the entities or to the living that are in the area. They make it uncomfortable for family members of the deceased. I mean,
yeah,
there are all kinds of reasons.
yeah.
Basically, people, use your heads, you know?
And just because you've watched a video on YouTube of somebody smudging does not mean you now know how to do it. You know?
Well, for one thing, you have to, sage alone doesn't work, but also it doesn't work. I have, in every case I've been around where there's somebody that's gone in to do the cleansing,
Yeah,
I have watched the entities laugh. And the owners of the property will say, "Oh, well, it calmed down for a couple days, then it got so much worse."
plus who are we to tell the entities what to do?
They were there first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's more
Um,
about like teaching people to live with the entities that are in their location than getting rid of them, because you
yeah.
you can't.
There have been a few cases where I've had people reach out to me and wanting me to clear. They wanted me to tell them what was there and get rid of it. And I said, well, I don't do the getting rid of, but I'll come and see what's there. They've wanted an investigation. And I said, well, if you have an investigation, you're asking them to perform and to be active. And then
Mm.
you're going to say, okay, well, that was fun. And thank you for doing it now. No, don't do it anymore. That's just rude.
Yeah,
And so I've gone in, found out what or who is there, what it is they're trying to communicate or why they're active, and work with the family to set up, reassure them that it's not some big evil scary thing or a demon. And
yeah,
then um help them determine what their ground rules are, and then they're fine. It's like, oh, that's who it is. Of course they can stay. It's a grandfather watching my child and making sure my child's okay. Yeah, I don't want to get rid of great grandpa. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Couldn't make them leave anyway.
yeah, exactly. Um, and so it's we it's the fear of the unknown that gets to people, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes the ego of thinking something has, I have this power to vanish or whatever.
Yeah.
Because humans in our society is special, or especially, are kind of fragile.
Yeah.
Or we have so much that beats us down in society that we look for a way to be special sometimes. Some people really need that. I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying that look at the whole picture, use some critical thinking skills, use some analysis skills, and um, come to something that's a more logical arrangement. And it
Yeah.
usually works.
Yeah. And then there's people who, being scared is adrenaline rush. It's fun for some people, and that's what they're
Oh,
there
yeah.
for. And there's nothing wrong with that either.
No,
Just
it
know what
isn't.
you're doing and be respectful about it.
Yeah, don't, if you're going to get the adrenaline rush and be scared, just make sure you're not being abusive to the entities
Yeah.
or the property or the owners or, things like that. Um, if the adrenaline rush is through trespassing, well, that's not something I can condone.
Yeah.
Um, um, so anyway, how do people get a hold of you, Jason, or your team?
Yeah, they can contact us at bigriverparanormal.com. We have a little contact us section there on our page. And then we have a form there for people who want to ask us for, if they have an investigation request or just a request for help, and see if we're the right team for them. So they fill it out, and then we contact them. And,
Is that right? Did I spell it right?
Paranormal. It looks correct to me. Yeah. Yeah. So that's
Great.
we have Facebook as well, and check out our website, and we have all sorts of cool information. We have a investigate with us portion where we have people can come on public investigations with our Boise team at the Geyser Grand Hotel and the Old State Pen in Boise. So those are a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I've had experiences at the Geyser Grand. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
It is. And I don't know what the food is like anymore, but the dinner I've had in the main dining room area there a couple times I stayed were really excellent.
Yeah. Never stayed there yet, but I plan to eventually.
I stayed there once. But yeah, it's a beautiful place. Yeah. Baker City is a pretty haunted town, I think.
Yeah, I've been there. I've never went to the investigation there. I've stopped by just to see the place, but I haven't had time to investigate there with the team yet.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, I'll make my way over there.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky. I just sit back and have dinner and watch the entities, and if they want to talk, great, and otherwise not. And it makes it so much easier than the equipment and stuff that bores me quickly.
That's something that many mediums have laughed at us, because they're like, I see that you investigators coming in with all your heavy equipment, and here I am with my pen. Like, ha, that's
yeah.
real advantage you guys have.
The only thing is, you can document, sometimes things, and we can't without that heavy equipment.
Yeah, well, our main goal too is, if we're working with a medium, is to find something on our documentation that matches what you came up with as well, and that's when you really have something. Because if you
Right.
write down a name on the investigation and we get that as EVP, or you write down a name in our historical report says a person with that name lived there, and that's not information you had previously, then we can take that to the client and say, this is what we found. And that's already
Or
great information to have.
right. Or the descriptions of people, if it's not even a name, or what happened, what were the events, what was the piece. And now not being able to back it up doesn't mean either is wrong, but
Yeah,
it doesn't mean either is right. And
exactly.
but if you can, then it adds a lot more solidity to the idea of it being real.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, um, it all works for me. I like it. And that's part of what I teach when I
Yeah.
work with a team and teaching how the two go together. That's one of the things, or leading EVP sessions sometimes,
Yeah.
trying to get that by mentioning who we are seeing or what we're seeing, and then asking the questions in a way to get validation of that.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get it. Most of the
My
time you do.
my favorite way to do an EVP session is to set up the recorders and just have normal conversations within the team, because especially a place that's been investigated a lot, they get tired of being asked the same questions. But if,
Mhm.
me and my friends were sitting in your living room having a conversation, you're probably going to join in the conversation, right?
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
also when you're not there. I mean, just leaving things running and leaving for,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, they'll leave for an hour or two,
Yeah.
um, and do that. Some of them, they'll leave everything running and have the family there just overnight, and
Yeah.
then go look. Just what do you collect on a normal evening at home? And
Yeah. That's what we try to do when we go investigate. Like, it doesn't have to be at night. If the person says, "Hey, we're having this kind of activity at 2 o'clock in the afternoon," then that's where we're going to be. That's when we're going to investigate.
I had a guy once that wanted me to investigate a place because his team was too afraid to. And it was in a neighborhood that I knew well. I think I knew the house, actually. I wasn't sure. But he
Yeah.
claimed demons. And so I'm rolling my eyes to begin with. But um, I said, sure, I'll do it. And he said, great, we'll get there at 11 p.m. and go to like 3 in the morning. And I'm thinking, yeah, that doesn't sound like fun. So I asked him, what time's the activity? From 2 to 3 in the afternoon.
So why would you be there
So
at 11?
why don't we go to at during 2 to 3 in the afternoon? He'd never thought of it.
Yeah.
It's so fixed on the idea of dark, after late at night, overnight, past midnight, that whole
Scary.
fixation a
Yeah.
lot of people have, and I'm not thinking, and it all fell apart and it didn't happen, and I'm glad. Um,
Yeah.
but it, and I'm not trying to put, I don't even remember who this was, but and it was a nice guy. I'm not trying to disparage him at all, but it's like people turn on your brains a little bit and put all the pieces together.
Yeah.
Um, and anyway, I'm trying to do that kindly, not being a jerk about it.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal of my team, is to help people find logical explanations for what they're experiencing and use a little bit of logic, because it, when you're not used to this kind of stuff, it is scary, and
Yeah.
so we come in and say you don't have to be scared because you're not seeing a ghost. What you're seeing is, you have extremely high EMF in your bedroom, and that causes this. And like, we had a case where a woman she said that she was seeing people in her bedroom and that her ceiling was bleeding. She just had an alarm clock next to her bed that was really old. That was just pumping. I mean, it pegged our meter. It was just pumping into her head all night long. And if you're
Oh yeah.
sensitive to that, it can cause hallucination. And
Right.
so,
Or
it's,
make sure you don't have a radon leak or carbon
yeah,
monoxide leak,
yeah,
which can also be deadly, not to mention hallucinations.
yeah,
Um, and even if they are seeing a ghost,
Yeah.
Understanding what that ghost is and why and what they're trying to say can take away the fear and then
Yeah.
actually even negotiate boundaries.
Yeah.
So
Just like you would with any roommate.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And we forget to go through the whole process a lot of times. And it's
Yeah.
easy to forget. I get that. Again, I'm not trying to be critical of anyone, just encouraging people to go that extra distance, take
Yeah.
those next steps. Okay, this is here. Students in a class, I felt this, or I could tell this. Okay, did you use that as a starting point to ask
Yeah.
them to tell you more? Oh, I didn't think about it. Okay, so we work on remembering to take those next steps
Yeah.
as part of it. And it's fantastic that they got to the one part, and nobody's supposed to be, there is no perfection at any of this, let
Yeah.
alone early on in the experience of the whole process. So
Yeah.
um yeah, anyway, hopefully that makes sense. And
Yeah.
I'll quit them. So
All right. Yeah. I
anything,
never I never speak in absolutes. I never say this is what this is. I never say that. I say this is what we believe. This is what
yep.
we found.
And I tell them, this is what they're telling me. This is what they're
Yeah.
showing me.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's not up to me to make that final determination. I tell them just what I said.
Yeah.
So anything you want to conclude with?
Just if you interested in the team, just look us up, bigriverparanormal.com.
Great. Well, Jason, I can't thank you enough. It's always great to talk to you.
Yeah,
And we need coffee soon.
for sure.
And just a reminder, folks, I've got the readings on the 11th in McMinnville and the class and gallery on the 18th in Independence.
And
And
that's at a cool location too.
yeah, it is. It really is. And the people are so nice, and the people in the town are just wonderful.
Yeah.
Everybody I met there, it was just so kind and just really a pleasant place to be. Um, so I recommend going for, like I say, from Portland, it's only a little over an hour. Especially on a Saturday afternoon, evening, it shouldn't be too big of a drive. And for those in Corvallis or Salem, it's even a lot closer. So
Yeah.
Lincoln City, Newport, it's not a bad drive, just straight down the Salem Coast Highway. And then I think it's 51. So it all works. Okay. Well, thank you. Say hi to your team.
Will
And
do.
thank you all for watching.
All
Good
right.
night.
Thank you.